Over 100 days ago, I started the carnivore diet to help with all these symptoms and conditions. It was getting pretty serious and I needed to do something desperately. So I embarked on this incredible journey of the carnivore diet and the carnivore gaps diet. I've just crossed day 100, so I wanted to give you a full update of everything that's happened in this time. In this video, I'm dividing it into 3 sections. Day 1 to 30, day 31 to 60, and then the rest, day 61 to day 100. In the first 30 days, I ate only meat, salt, and water. The middle period, I started to try introducing foods, and then towards the end, I started some more protocols that are very interesting, but have been highly effective in helping me with things like my sinuses. Anyway, let's start with phase 1. Hey, what's this? It's an ad read. Hold on a sec. We've got sponsors now? Yeah, it's for these guys. Sodi. Oh, sweet. I already use these every day anyway. It's actually helped me with stress, cramps, mental clarity and focus, fitness performance, and you know that unquenchable thirst thing when you just drink so much water but you just don't feel satisfied? That's probably because you're deficient in electrolytes. Well, not anymore, because I take 1 to 2 sachets every day. It's got the perfect blend of sodium, potassium, and magnesium to keep your body electrolyzed. Yes, that is a word. Just like people need a steady supply of carnivore Aurelius memes to get through the day, your body needs a steady supply of electrolytes to keep performing at its best. Well said. Now tell them they can get 15% off their first order using the code Rory's Kitchen, and that they can get 15% off every month after that if they're on subscription. So basically they're getting 30% off the first month and 15% off every single month after that. Not gonna lie, it's a pretty good deal. And it's just sodi.com.au/Rory's Kitchen, or they can find the link in the description, right? Perfect. Thanks Sodi for sponsoring, and guys, enjoy the rest of the video. For phase 1, I just did meat stock, salt, and water for 30 days. I did what some people call an extreme elimination diet. I wanted to cut anything out that could potentially be triggering me and then slowly introduce to see what things are working for me, what things are not. I got to this point where I realized the only thing I could really eat without being triggered was meat. So I was like, this is the perfect impetus and beginning point to start with carnivore. In this period, I mostly ate lamb, beef, a little bit of chicken, and a lot of meat stock, which is basically bone broth, but it's been prepared for a shorter period of time, about 3 hours, less histamines, and very good, incredibly anti-inflammatory, really good for healing and sealing that gut. The plan has never been to do carnivore for eternity. I always was wanting to use it as a launching pad for me to discover what things I'm intolerant to and slowly introduce foods as my body and gut is able to. Now, a lot of people have said in my comments, oh, you feel good because you cut out all the processed sugar and the junk and everything like that. Before I started this, I was eating what you would call healthy, right? My only vice was potato chips, but once I learned about seed oils, then I stopped that probably in August last year. So that's what I was eating before. Day 1 to 30 was the hardest. I was still figuring things out. How much should I eat in a day? When do I feel full? My hunger cues were changing. How much fat should I have? What should I eat? I was trying to figure it all out. Plus, I was having a very small amount of sleep because I was making these videos daily, these TikToks and Reels and Shorts, and they were just going absolutely nuts. And I was like, okay, got to stay on top of these videos. So I would sleep about 5 hours every night and I would get these videos out, and it was well worth it because, you know, now I'm doing this full time as my job, but in hindsight for my health, maybe not the best thing. So I tapered back on doing daily videos and I posted them every couple of days. So the sleep wasn't great, but when I did have a sleep, it was good. The main challenge in the first couple of weeks was energy. It was like this. And I'd just come out of surgery like 2 weeks prior. I was recovering from a wrist surgery. So I was coming off painkillers, general anesthetic, all that sort of stuff. Around week 3, that's when I started to experience the keto flu, also known as die-off or detox in the GAPS world. And I felt like crap. I felt like I was gonna die. I started doing a lot of researching, and yep, turns out it was this die-off period, which happens when you're doing the GAPS or keto or carnivore. For some people, not for everyone, but for me, it hit me, and it hit me pretty hard for about a week. I felt like I was gonna die. I tried to have daily Epsom salt baths to basically try and sweat this thing out. That seemed to be the only thing that helped. I stopped eating, I couldn't eat anything, I felt sick. Eventually I got over it and I started to feel better. While my energy was fluctuating, my base level of energy was higher than what it was previously. My skin was clearing up. It was looking absolutely fantastic for the first time in a long time. And my joint pain was starting to go. I didn't really exercise at all because, like I said, I was recovering from surgery, but also I didn't really feel like exercising at all. I was healing, I was recovering, I was detoxing. I felt like crap some days and I didn't want to push myself, but towards the end I did push myself. I did 3 CrossFit sessions and a PT session. Went a bit overboard there. I probably should have waited an extra couple of weeks, but I just wanted to kind of prove to myself that I could do it. But what about poops? What happens to your bowel movements? In those 30 days, every 2 to 3 days, it became normal for me to go. And this is pretty typical because you're not getting any fiber from plant foods or anything like that. So your body's basically using what it needs to from the food. It was really weird getting used to it initially because I would go 1 to 2 times a day, really good, big, solid bowel movements. The problem was, it was always stanky. Interestingly enough, once I did carnivore, my bowel movements did not smell. And my body odor disappeared, which was also fascinating because you'd think that someone only eating meat would smell, would be rank, but nope. When I was in the detoxing keto flu phase, that's when the smells were starting to come out, but I knew that was because my body was releasing and getting rid of. Once I went through that, I was fine for a bit. In the 30 days, I didn't eat as much as I normally would. Like normally I would eat a lot, like a kilo of potatoes, maybe 2 kilos of potatoes or sweet potatoes in a setting, or I'd have a 1 to 2,000 calorie smoothie and still feel hungry. But my hunger cues changed. I was feeling full and I didn't eat as much and I didn't have as many calories. And I lost a lot of water weight as well. So I lost about 4 kilos in those first 30 days. But then I gained probably most of it back within those next couple of weeks because I was taking electrolytes, I was having more fat. I felt like my body was getting a gist of,
I'm not getting any more carbs, dude. No more carbs. See you later. No carbs, no worries.
Coming into week 6, that's when I started to feel really good. I woke up and I was like, I needed to run. I needed to lift something. I needed to move my body. And I hadn't felt like that in months, maybe a year. I felt like I had energy to do life again. I felt like I had energy to be a better dad. My mood swings had changed coming into phase 2. My joint pain, it doesn't even really exist anymore. My aching body, gone dramatically. All these symptoms that I was experiencing previously were not affecting me in the way they were before. So that was around week 6 that I started to really notice the benefits of the carnivore diet. This was advice that was given to me from Michaela Peterson, was give it 6 weeks. At around the 6-week mark, that's when magic starts to happen for some people. And that's what happened for me. Don't give yourself 30 days. Give yourself minimum 6 weeks. And for some people, it could be longer. So my body was adapting and adjusting. I was having more energy. I was able to go on hikes with my son. We were able to go up mountains and it was fantastic. My favorite part of phase 2 was trying to reintroduce foods into my diet. So what happens for a lot of people is they'll try carnivore for 30 days and then they'll go back to eating normal food and they'll feel like shite. Do not recommend that. What I recommend if you're reintroducing foods on carnivore or anything is following the GAPS diet protocols. In the GAPS diet, there's these 6 phases in the intro phase, and you slowly introduce foods as your body is able to tolerate. You slowly introduce fermented foods, eggs, avocado, ghee, nuts, veggies, fruit, like you slowly introduce as things are. So I took some principles from that and decided I'd start introducing a couple of foods. I tried introducing egg, that didn't work. I broke out, I had low energy, had a histamine reaction. Avocado, I had a similar reaction, but it was very mild in comparison. Sauerkraut juice, very successful in reintroducing that, and that's something that I still regularly have now. The reason being sauerkraut juice is because of the probiotics, and GAPS is very heavy on the probiotics. So at that point, I basically moved out of being exclusively carnivore. I like to use the term GAPSivore. I don't know. I don't think that'll catch on. I guess ketovore is the trendy term that all the cool kids are using these days. And that's kind of where I'm standing now still. When I was introducing these things, I would do it for a 24-hour period. So I'd have a little bit and then I'd wait. The world would stop for 24 hours. And then I would resume and I would try the next thing. What would have been better is if I actually tried smaller doses to start off with the egg and avocado, just to see how things ran. But you live, you learn. Another thing that I gave a crack as well was activated charcoal. So in part of the GAPS protocol, one of the things that you do is a detoxification process with activated charcoal, bentonite clay, and enemas. Because as you're going through GAPS and detoxing and all these things are happening in your body, you want to flush it out. You want to draw any toxins out, anything that your body's trying to get rid of, and you want to take as much work out of the equation for your body as possible. So activated charcoal draws toxins out, bentonite clay helps to move things through your colon, and then coffee enemas or enemas help to extract that further and give your bowels a good old break. I tried activated charcoal twice, but then I decided to park it until I was ready to actually properly do it with coffee enemas, which happens in phase 3, and I'll share a little bit more about that later. The 2 things I introduced that made the biggest impact were sauerkraut juice, and the second was electrolytes. This is something that I really wish that I would have had within the first 30 days, but I really wanted to see what carnivore would do on its own. A couple of of days into the 30 days, I did a weight check and I also did a blood test check. I checked all the basic things. And then after the 30 days, I checked it again. There were things in there that were a lot higher than previously. My LDLs, my cholesterol, my liver, testosterone. But I wasn't too concerned because I know that that's what can happen for a lot of people is your body's adjusting. High cholesterol does not necessarily mean that there's going to be heart disease. And in fact, I actually had some symptoms in relation to my heart and everything improve. I was having like flushes down my left arm, heavy left arm, tingles, palpitations, and they tremendously improved, disappeared almost entirely from doing this. So I found that really interesting. Now that I'm over 100 days, I'm really curious to see where my blood is at now. So around day 120, I'm gonna go get my blood tested again, same results. I've got a blood work expert that's gonna run over through everything, compare day 30 to day 120, and I'm gonna make a video about it, full transparency. Whether it's good or not, we'll both find out together. Stay tuned for that one. In phase 2, I actually got a little concerned for a moment. I noticed these rashes actually started developing around my liver. And I did a bit of research on it. That is a potential sign of liver damage. I was actually quite worried about it. So I spoke with a practitioner, a professional, and she assured me that your body's working overtime. Your liver's got a really hard job right now as you're changing things in your diet. Let's just keep an eye on it, see how it goes. And she gave me some detoxification protocols that I'll share with you that I've been doing that I feel like have helped tremendously. At the same time as the rashes, I was starting to get really smelly. I knew that this is my body just going through this detox process or whatever it is. Once I had a chat with a practitioner, I was feeling fine about it. The rashes went down. I feel like my liver is doing fantastic overall. Knowing what I know now, I actually would have started doing coffee enemas as soon as I noticed those symptoms because coffee enemas are incredibly good for your liver. Don't freak out. Coffee enemas are a very common part of the GAPS diet and certain detoxification protocols, and they're very effective for people in all sorts of conditions. So one thing I forgot to add was that around this time with the liver, I was also having the strongest diarrhea I'd had this entire time. 4 days in a row, I was going 4 to 5 times a day, and it just cleared me out good. All that smell that I had and any troubles that I had with that, it was all gone, and I felt so much better. So that was the only time out of this whole time that I had like crazy runs. So after that, they just did not come back. And the last thing I'll mention for phase 2 is I would still sometimes have little reactions on my skin, like kind of histamine reactions. And I've noticed now that that is only when I eat like aged rump, and my body does not like it. But yeah, anyway, off to phase 3. Moving into phase 3, I felt like I was doing pretty good. I was having meat stocks almost daily. I'd have mostly meat cooked on the bone, but then I started having more meat that was fried in duck fat and tallow. I was really enjoying that. I was getting lazy. On GAPS, you're supposed to have more meat on the bone. It's actually easier to digest than stuff that's fried or grilled, and I notice the difference every single time. My body definitely feels better doing the GAPS type meat, but sometimes I just really wanted some mince, or sometimes I just wanted lamb chops cooked on the frying pan. For me, that was my cheating. That was my way of rewarding myself, or, you know, my cheat meals it was still legal. Now that I'm past day 100, my body tolerates it a lot better, but back then I probably should have stuck to more meat on the bone type meat. The next thing that was really important for me was actually trying to introduce dairy.
Cheese.
I was really curious to see what would happen. Dairy is something that I've struggled with for years, my whole life. Cheese, it's been a love-hate relationship for a very long time. And I stopped eating cheese long ago. I felt like I could tolerate butter, but I wasn't really sure if my body was reacting to the butter or the other things that I was eating. So for me, carnivore had no dairy included for the first 60, 70, I think even 80 days. But then I thought, okay, let's slowly start trying to introduce ghee. And ghee is clarified butter. It's basically butter that has a lot of the milk proteins removed and is easier for people like myself to digest. I had a little bit of ghee in the frying pan with some mince, and I didn't have a huge reaction. I had a little bit of dryness that was breaking out here, and I was like, okay, my body's definitely reacting, but it was all right. It wasn't a low energy thing like when I would have avocado or egg. I was like, this is good. And I was surprised because I thought I would react a lot more than I did. I thought I would react less to the avocado than the bloody ghee, but hey. So I was having that daily for a couple of days, but then I noticed that the redness came back here. So then I was like, okay, I just gotta chill on the gi for a bit. What I found throughout this period as well is that I wouldn't have to do much work or physical work or running or active stuff or lifting, and my body was starting to build muscle. And I hadn't experienced it like this before. I did do CrossFit and personal training and weightlifting when I was vegan many years ago, and I was about 14 pounds more than I am now. What I found with doing carnivore is that it was easier to build muscle. I was starting to feel really good and positive about my body. This is what I was starting to look like. Things were going good. I felt like everything was moving in the right direction with carnivore, with my diet, with my life. And then I got sick. My whole family got a chest infection thing, and I went down. I didn't go down as hard as I would have though if I was doing my previous diet. So I think that's a good testament to carnivore. I didn't take any supplements or anything at all, and I was able to recover. I even lost my voice at one stage, so it put me behind about 2 weeks of the making my videos, which was really annoying. But anyway, I'm feeling a lot better now. Around this time, this is when I started doing coffee enemas. At the advice of my GAPS practitioner, she said, all right, it's time to actually start taking the activated charcoal bentonite clay and doing the coffee enemas so you can really help your body with moving to the next phase, up leveling on the GAPS diet, detoxification and supporting the gut. I was like, okay, see how we go. So I bought an enema kit, I got all the ingredients, and I was ready to rock and roll. I proceeded to do my very first enema with bicarb soda, and it went very well. I felt incredible. I was like, man, why didn't I do this earlier? And then I made a commitment to do 30 days of daily coffee enemas. 30 days of it. What happened initially when I was doing the enemas is that my skin broke out. It got even worse than it was around the start. So it was really red through here. It broke out in a rash and really dry, and it felt horrible. And I felt really embarrassed. I was like, man, maybe I'm going backwards. Maybe this is not working. But eventually that cleared. And you know what else cleared? My sinuses. For the first time since doing the carnivore, and the first time in years, I didn't feel like I had a blocked nose. I used to eat food and my nose would be blocked. I'd have a horrible sleep that night, sleep apnea, wake up feeling like I never slept at all, and it just feels so clogged up there. I was even told by an ENT specialist this time last year that I needed to have surgery on my sinuses. But after doing enemas, I think it was within a week, it cleared and I could breathe through my nose. It was like, this is amazing. And since then, it's been consistently good. I went from being a coffee enema skeptic to becoming a convert. But I'll save that for another video. So phase 3, I was doing the ghee, I was doing activated charcoal, bentonite clay, having sauerkraut juice here and there. I had a little bit more avocado. I was actually able to tolerate it a lot better than I was previously. So I think I had about 4 times the original dose. I didn't feel as affected as I was previously. So to me, that is a sign that what I'm doing is working. It's taken its sweet ass time, but healing takes time. It's taken me decades to get me where I am. I don't expect to feel better within 2 years. The fact that I am feeling better is a bonus, but the GAPS diet is like a 2-year thing, right? My advice is to give yourself a lot of time to heal on your journey. Don't expect things to happen overnight or within a couple of weeks or months. Give yourself time. All of our bodies are different and need to go through their own thing. But it's exciting because I feel like what I'm doing is actually working, which is incredible. And this is the best that I have felt since I started my health journey over 13 years ago. 13 years. One of the things that happened for me was more of a mental, emotional, spiritual thing, I guess, at this point. Because I felt like I'd solved this riddle that I was trying to solve for 13 years. I was trying to solve this riddle of my health. Every time I would eat, I would worry about what I was going to feel afterwards, how my body was going to go. But I don't feel like that anymore. I know how I'm going to feel after I eat. And it's incredible. So I was like, okay, now what? What is the next thing? What does my life look like healed and doing what I love and everything like that? Because I'd solved this riddle, it started to get me thinking about other parts of my life, looking at maybe there are other underlying issues that's going with my health. So I discovered that my nervous system is very dysregulated, that I've been all over the place, stressed, in fight, flight, or freeze, and that has also been contributing to some of my gut stuff as well. So I've been learning a lot about that and how it affects inflammation and how trauma affects inflammation in our body. It's very fascinating. I'm still in the early phases of learning, but I'm becoming more aware of how my body reacts to the world. So keep you posted as I learn things around that. The next thing that happened for me that wasn't physical was I went into this decluttering mode. I went through my storage, I went through my room, my house, my office, and I just cleared out all this stuff. years worth, over a decade's worth of books, courses, just random trinkets and junk, and all these things that were really untidy. And I just tidied the whole thing up. I deleted things in my hard drive, and I felt like I was going through this whole like digital detox and this just letting go of things. And I feel even more freer. I even did things like deleted old TikTok accounts and Instagram accounts and YouTube from over the years of trying to make it on social media. And that freed up all this brain space. So I deleted accounts with tens of thousands of followers because I really wanted to go forward and full forward with this new focus, this new drive and clarity that I had, and just really put my love and attention into doing this full time. And I realized that for me to move forward in my life, I need to let go of the things that are no longer serving me. Doing this physical thing just opened up this whole other world that I don't really feel like a lot of people talk about. I feel like it's enabled me to become more aware, more conscious, more present. I'm not perfect, obviously, but it's just really helped me on a mental, emotional, I guess even a spiritual kind of level. It's weird to say, but it's true. It's what's been happening.
Can I get a oh yeah?
Coming up to day 100 now, my life has totally changed. I feel like I'm a different person. I feel like my world has completely changed. I feel like my priorities have changed. Even my career has changed. In fact, on day 100, I actually gave notice. I quit my job on day 100 to do Rory's kitchen full time, which kind of was not something that I would expect would happen when starting this journey. But hey, that's where we landed, and here we are. I think that deserves a like. What do you reckon? Thank you, by the way. This would not be possible without you guys. Where am I at now? What am I eating? Where am I going? What are the plans? My plans are to introduce food slowly as per the gap. So I would say I'm 99, 98% carnivore. You could call it ketovore, gapsivore, whatever we call it. The only thing that I'd say that's not carnivore is the sauerkraut, activated charcoal, bentonite clay, and the coffee up my butt. The next foods that I do want to introduce is I want to try butter, raw milk, raw yogurt, raw cream, and I want to try those dairies and see if my body can get those good probiotics from that kind of stuff. And then if I do introduce other foods that are non-carnivore, it would probably end up being, I feel like, zucchini or pumpkin, butternut squash, which technically fit into the animal-based kind of zones. So I'll be overlapping animal-based gaps, ketovore, carnivore, whatever. I have no intention or desire to introduce things like honey or sweet fruits or low-carb fruits like berries, etc. I'm just going to keep it slow, keep it low carb, keep it no carb as much as possible, and just keep it high fat, and just kind of roll and just slowly introduce, and just see what else happens. But I want to get a lot more holistic when it comes to my health. So I've got the career part sorted, I've got the food part sorted, and that's all going swimmingly. But now I really want to dive deeper into my nervous system, healing that fight or flight trauma response that I've been in for such a long time. I want to move into my emotions. I want to support that more. I want to do more biohacking. I want to do fun stuff like ice baths, and I want to do more fitness. I want to get strong. I want to gain weight. I really want to just basically live at peak performance, optimal health in all areas of my life now. And I feel like carnivore has been an incredible foundation and something that I'm going to be forever grateful for. The most impactful thing that I've done in my life. Would I recommend this to people? If you've got similar symptoms to me and you've already got bad health, you've literally got nothing to lose because you don't have your health, and health is everything. Check in with a practitioner, someone that knows what they're talking about, and get guidance and support as you go along. But if you've got nothing to lose, then give it a crack. If you've got any unanswered questions, please drop it in the comments below and I'll answer. And if you want to know what I'm eating in a day at the moment, I made a video, what I eat in a day on the carnivore, gapsivore, ketovore thing. So yeah, check out that video and subscribe if you want to see more. It would mean the world to me.